What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Final Moments favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Magic Square Devastator, all on loan to me from Robert D. And of course, we'll compare it with the New Age, and of course, we'll have a versus to follow soon. But as for right now, we just got to get this guy together. I did realize I never showed how to get these two into leg mode, so we're going to show that as well as we move through. Let's go ahead and get them combined. Obviously, we have some steps to do in order to do a little bit more prep work. Let's get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and get these guys sorted first, since we forgot to do it beforehand. Untab the fuel tanks from the side and split the cab so that you can get access to both sides. You've got to kind of undo all of this because you need to get this toe out. And in order to do so, you need to kind of undo it all and then wrap that around on the back. And we'll do the same on this side. There we go. Alright, then you have to get this inner tab here unpegged from there and swung down and pegged back into there. So we're going to untab, we're going to swing around. We have to bend plastic against plastic because that's how they do. And then at that point you can go ahead and collapse this back and start making like the front of the truck again. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So once again, we're looking for this inner tab. We're unplugging, we're bending it around plastic and flexing the materials against their will, and then tapping it back in, and then bringing this piece up and collapsing that. All right, so now we got to bring this together and we have to tab these together. And the fuel tanks come around to the back, and then untab this so that you can free up your pelvis piece there. And I think you're supposed to extend this a bit too. And then you gotta bring this up these. There's 3 joints here. The base green here has to be flat, and then the other stuff has to kind of come up so that that slides in there. No. So that this piece on the crotch slides in there, and then that piece of the pelvis plate stabs into the top of the roof of the cab. Then you have this extended. Make sure that this is right, which as you can see, mine is not. And we can tab this back in, and we're good to go. All right, now scrapper. We're just gonna lift up on the front end loader here. We're trying to get these 2 tabs on the side of the front end loader into these lower slots. So if you raise the whole thing up and then bend it backwards and then kind of come down into place, you'll find that that should do it pretty well. Open up these side flaps and then flip this flap in on both sides. Unlock the front wheels so that we can get access to the arms, spin them around, and then use your tire to lock back into the shoulder to kind of keep position. So same on this side. Move out, spin around, and then use your tire to lock in. All right, and now, in my opinion, one of the most useless things, flip this out, flip this. We need to get this foot spun the other way. And there's a ball peg here. I'm just trying to get it spun around. There. And I mean, come on. So we'll do the same thing again. Flip this out. Flip this up. Spin it around. Bring it back down. Then do a quick check, make sure that you have the shin flaps straight, and then you have these little bumps there with the little carve out, and you have your toes, and then you can kind of just flap them back together and leave them sit. We don't need to combine this right now until we get the other pieces going. All right, so we'll go ahead and get an arm on here. This bit there is going to house our connector port. Forgive my fingers. I just finished airbrushing something and it was a mess. But a little hard to do with the camera in front of me. Let's see if I can't do it that way. There. One arm on. Then the other arm, once again, you have to kind of slide that in and then replace all of this to include that piece back. And then remember these tight joints here. And I might have to do it off camera, but you're gonna slide that in and then connect these two. It's such a tight tolerance that I can't get it without. There it is, basically. And then we have this piece. We're gonna keep these green pieces down. So we have that little 2-tab system right there that goes into there. 1 tab here on this wing that goes into there, I believe, or maybe it's there, wherever it lines up properly. I'm a little concerned about that piece. Let's just get it out of the way for now. Yeah, so it's the closest gray tab. And it just all starts to fall apart as you do so. And then the head comes down and you can see where that key grabs onto there, and that also stabilizes the crane, which is nice. All right, so now to get these two pieces on, I'm only going to try this briefly because it's a pain. But male, female, male, female, male, female. It just all starts coming apart. So let me get it sorted, we'll be back. Then you have the 2 flank pieces. The exhaust port there has a female at the bottom of it. There's a male here that'll slide around and, supposedly tab in. And on this side, you have a tab on the side of there that will tab into the side of the window on the dump truck. But it just slides it. It just starts to rotate it. So... But in theory, that's what it should do. Okay, and now we can insert our torso piece. My thigh fell off, so to speak, but just hard to see what you're doing when you're not looking quite at it. And then make sure everything is tight and straight as it can be. And then lastly, you just disconnect your bearing, or it just falls off. Slide that in, and then reconnect. There, and down here at the bottom. And I mean, that's basically it. I'll clean it up, we'll take a look at it. All right, so let's talk about the combiner. Head sculpt, magnificent. Looks spot on. Look at that metallic red paint, looks great. The gray paint looks great as well. Fantastic. Hinge swivel for articulation if it'll stay stuck in, which it may or may not. You get up to there, swivel. Let's see, you can lift this up a bit. I don't know, it still doesn't get you any down, which is a bummer. It's more important that he can look down than up. All right, let's continue. Obviously, I can't get this piece stuck in properly, but you still get a waist swivel with no problem. You get a double hinged ab crunch, which is nice, and a reverse ab crunch, which is nice. For the shoulders, it basically operates like a universal, but it's a bit more complicated than that, but you do get the swivel all the way around, and then you get this joint that moves out for 90 degrees, and we'll go ahead and show that on both sides without trying to undo everything. We've kind of showed this before, but bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and then the fingers are individually articulated. The thumb is on a base ball peg, and then you have a secondary hinge at the knuckle. And then the fingers are all on base ball pegs with a secondary hinge at the next knuckle. Same for this side. I will also say that this arm, it's not terrible right now, right? But as I've been messing with him and stuff, we'll put the gun in his hand. Oh, no. No, that elbow's not going to cut it now, is it? No dice, Mac. So that's a bit unfortunate. It should have had ratcheted elbows. Seems like an easy enough solution to that. Then we have the hip skirts. We can get them up and out of the way. That piece is meant to come off to swap out. So what we have here is a universal joint that's ratcheted out to the side and tensioned forward and it's ratcheted forward and back and ratcheted out the side, and then it also swings out, which I'm not sure is necessary, but it does it. The ratchets will get you out for the full Van Damme and forward for the full range there, but you do not get the full return, which I think is ultimately fine. Thigh swivel at a cut joint. The knees single hinged, which is fine because it's a great range of motion. The problem is there's no ratchets. Once again, an easy enough solution. Oh, it is double jointed. It is double jointed. But it doesn't matter because then it's not ratcheted, and as a result, it actually, the weight tends to kind of throw this guy around a bit and proves to be a bit frustrating. And then the ankles, you get, if you unpeg stuff, you can get an ankle tilt down. Otherwise, you just get the rocker. And then same for the scrapper side. You can get a little bit of ankle tilt up and down the scrapper side. But it has a tendency, as you can see, it's coming completely apart. It doesn't have the structural integrity that I wish it did. But it looks really good, you know? But it's just got a lot of problems, man. And there it is, kind of from the back. Obviously, the knees are failing on it. That should have been fixed. The elbow should have been fixed. There's a lot of things that are just easy fixes here. And then some of it is just the magic square curse, right? Of just the material. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons, and we'll move into final thoughts. Size comparison wise, there it is with the New Age. We'll definitely be doing a versus of this. I'll be honest with you, I wish that the New Age one looked like that, or that the Magic Square one was built with the materials of that, and I think that would have been perfect. Who can ask for perfection, I suppose? Let's continue. There he is with our usual suspects, the old school Iron Factory scale blaster and a Hasbro Legend scale Stunticon. There he is with Iron Factory Torn to get you an idea of what he looks like with a big bot from the Iron Factory scale. And there he is with Magic Square Prime and New Age Megatron. So that should all make sense. So final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. Like, look, you know, first of all, the same things are going to still apply, right? Hardly any paint whatsoever, and the materials feel like they were made of recycled Pringle can tops, so it's a little bit frustrating to kind of get everything pegged in. But that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg regarding it. There's no ratchets in the knees. There's over-tightened ratchets in the hips. It doesn't go together well. It stays together even worse, mainly because of the type of plastic that's being used and the small little tabs and pegs that it's relying on to keep its structural integrity. The elbow doesn't have any ratchets and can't support the weight of the gun. The ankles aren't super secure. It may be possible that I don't have those right. I'm willing to concede that. But for all of the unnecessary engineering involved in trying to get the feet right, it seems like it should be a little bit more user-friendly in regard to making sure it's secure. These are small figures with small parts, and the more small parts you have, the more strong they have to be to rely on one another in order to stay stable. That's not the case here. It's weakness upon weakness upon weakness, and the end result is an insecure, and I don't mean it doesn't think highly of itself, but that the actual engineering isn't stable, unpredictable, frustrating mess. The thing it has going for it is it's a pretty mess. Aesthetically, I think they found a fantastic balance between tune and detail, and it breaks my heart to see the end result be so unstable. It's far from solid, especially in comparison to the New Age, and I'm only saying that because I just had to handle it for the size comparison. It wasn't necessarily fresh in my head. It's sculpted beautifully. It's a great design for a Devastator, and the proportions are fantastic. However, we always come back to this with me. It doesn't matter how good it looks if it's not secure. Now, this isn't as bad as the Takara Starscream, nor even Jansen, which is better than the Starscream, but it's still not solid, and it's asking and fetching a lot of money to not be as solid as it could be. And it wouldn't take much. The ratchets in the knees and elbows would help immediately, and the better materials would help it all stick together. But we're beating a dead horse. Do I recommend it? I don't. Sorry. If you're just gonna pose it and walk away, you'll probably be fine. I'm just not sure it's worth the hassle. It's not great, and I wish it was, because I prefer it aesthetically over the New Age. Bummer. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.